In prison, you either eat or you get eaten. And if you come in small, young, and Asian, you better get big fast or you won't last. Los Angeles, California, a city that eats the weak alive. For a young Filipino kid stepping off that plane, it wasn't the land of opportunity, it was a battlefield. Being Asian in the streets of LA came with a price. Racism, disrespected, and targeted. Pushed into corners where fists and fear spoke louder than words. And when the world boxed him in, he chose to fight back the only way that he knew how. By joining a gang that demanded loyalty, violence, sacrifice. It didn't take long before putting in work became his life. One move after another, one body after the next, and soon he found himself paying the ultimate price. A 15-year prison sentence in California's prison systems. We're talking gladiator yards, the most violent camps in the state. High Desert, Pelican Bay, Calipatria, and Kern Valley. Places built to break men, but he knew right away what it would take to survive. Lessons passed down from the old heads who had already bled for the car. By the time he found his rhythm, he wasn't just another inmate. He was a soldier, moving with honor and respect. 15 years of standing tall in a system designed to crush you. This is his story, his war, his survival. And in this interview, he pulls no punches, giving you the raw truth of what it means to walk into California's deadliest prisons as an Asian man and come out alive. This is DOC TV Unleashed, where the real ones talk and the fake ones can take a walk. What's up, everybody? I'm Blessed and Free. Welcome back to another episode of DOC TV Unleashed. This guy's all the way in the Philippines, but before he went there, he went to prison in California. And as you know from having other people on this channel, California's prison system is not the easiest to go through. So we're going to get into that in today's episode. If you like this type of content, do me a solid, hit that subscribe button and turn your post notifications on. So every time I do drop content, you can hear it first. So without further ado, man, for the people that don't know who you are, if you could just introduce yourself, tell them a little bit about yourself and what led you to prison.
Yeah. First of all, I appreciate you having me on the show, OG.
Yeah.
This is awesome right here, man. So those who don't know yet, they call me Pareyoung. It's like saying compadre in Filipino, in Tagalog. Okay. So youngster was my gang name when I got into the street gang as a kid at 12 years old. Right there in the streets of Los Angeles, California.
What gang were you a part of in LA?
So this is a Filipino gang called JFX, JFX. Those are some of the old Filipino gangs that started in LA, such as Satanas, Hellside, JFX, Bahala Na, Tropang Judas, Flipside. Those are the some of the old Filipino gangs in LA.
Can you give the people an idea a little bit about like what being in that gang entailed and like some of the stuff that you were doing and then what led you to prison?
Yes, sir. So I got culture shock because I wasn't born in America. I was born in the Philippines, and my folks migrated to LA to basically have a better life. And then my young ass, was influenced into the street life, stuff like that. And I as an Asian, I also experienced like discrimination or some of that, stuff like that, being a minority. So somehow at school, I found my, my Asian folks, my own folks. And little did I know that even in the Asian community, we're not even all friends. Like I ended up getting beat up by the Cambodians, by the Laos, stuff like that, by other gangs such as like Asian boys. Even then, I found my other Asian, which is the Filipinos, found me, and we found each other, and that's when I got into the Filipino gang, the JFX.
So were you like jumped in? How does that work when you get initiated?
Yes, sir. So basically, in JFX, what happens is they give you an option. If you want to have a big tattoo of a JFX, or you just want to have a cigarette burn. So most people they choose a cigarette burn instead, because so they beat you up first for about a minute, and if you can't fight back, fight back. So I tried to fight back, but I just couldn't, man. I was just a little kid. I was like 12 years old. I just got beat up, accepted the initiation, and then got a cigarette burn on the right hand after that, which solidified my affiliation to Jeff Rocks.
Okay. And
Yes, sir.
when you were like joining the gang at 12 years old, did it ever cross your mind that eventually you could end up in the penitentiary?
Yes, yes. But as a little kid, I have to be frank that I thought everything was a joke. Like I have this mindset where I could just do whatever I want, and somehow I could just get away with it. And if I do get caught, somebody will feel sorry for me. Like a professional victim mindset like that. I had that as a kid.
Yeah, I kind of did too. It's like, when you're a kid and then like, well, I'm a kid, so I can kind of get away with this and that. And I still got my parents type deal, right?
Yes, exactly like that.
Crazy, right? Crazy mindset.
Crazy mindset. But
So can you take the people through what sent you to prison and what happened with that?
yes, sir. So a lot of the gangs, I think it's different from generations, but during in the older generations back in the late 90s or 2000s during my time, a lot of people just joining the gangs to be cool, right? To represent something, to have friends, for a backup, to be cool, whatever. But me and the homies that I hang around with, we were so obsessed and we were so serious that as soon as we got into the gang, we became so violent, and we're serious to the point where you want to be just like the people, the other famous gang member that we see on TV. We wanted to be like them. So every day, we put in work for our gang in any way. It could either be graffiti in our territory, in our hood. Our whole mind, body, and soul was just like strictly for the street gang, to the benefit for our street gang. We will do anything, whatever it takes, even as far as ending other people's lives just to benefit our gang. We had that mindset as a young kid. I had that mindset, very serious. So eventually, after being stupid for 3 years, I finally got the reality check that and sentenced to a 14 years and 2 strikes with the California law.
Damn, bro, 14 years. I didn't realize you did 14. So can you talk about like what happened with it?
In a 14-year sentence in California law with good perfect behavior, you can get out with the 85% of the 14 years. However, I ended up doing 13 years out of the 14 years because sometimes you get in trouble too in prison. There's no escape because I'm still GP. I'm mainline. There's no escape. And you have to bust a grape. You got to bust a grape. It was extremely difficult for me in the beginning because inside of prison, this is where you can no longer hide. Now it doesn't matter if you're big or small, you have to face your enemy. And I was so scared on fighting all my enemies because I was just a small, skinny kid. And this forced me into doing push-ups because it was just never in my soul to just give up and be like a bitch, basically like a pussy, like.
Yeah.
So sorry for the word, but
No, you're good.
that's how I describe it. And I made a decision to gangster this shit inside prison, never give up, and fight whoever needs to be fight, stab whoever needs to get stabbed. And if I lose my life and my parole date in the process, and so be it, I consider that honorable. So as a young kid, I went through to CYA, to juvenile hall. I have a lot. Jeff Rock's gang has a lot of enemies. Almost all Filipino gangs, basically all Asian gangs are my enemies, including other races. Big gangs such as Mara Salvatrucha, Trece, and other Soreño gangs are also my enemies. So I went to kind of like a depression where I had so much enemies that I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, because I had to fight a lot of people, you know, and somehow I overwhelmed that. I mean, I overcame that and forced the most hardcore mindset that I can have in order for me to continue on and survive. Being an Asian in the California prison system, you are outnumbered. There's no other option but to survive. So at first during the minor years from 15 to 18 years old, yeah, I was going through some depression stuff, some soul searching, some you know it's like it was difficult for me to accept reality at first. I always pretended and lied to myself in a delusional way that somehow somebody's going to feel sorry for me and let me out and say this is enough is enough. But then when I turned 18 and came to prison, to the CDCR, the real prison for for the adults, this is when I got another reality check from from the old folks, and accepted reality that they will never let me out. They're really going to let me do the 14 years, the sentence that I was sentenced to, and just went on from there. So luckily, brother, I was what do you call this? Basically, ran into some old people that are honorable enough to teach me and show me that there is a better way. And I should improve myself. I should get as much education as possible. I should also work out. I should also better myself in any way, mind, body, and soul. And I believe them because in my soul, I know that this was the truth. It was the right thing to do. Don't get me wrong. There are older Asians that are evil or with bad intentions that wanted me to get life in prison so I can get stuck with them forever in there. But God has a different plan for me. I knew what was right and wrong, sirs, and I continued to stay focused during my prison time after I turned 18.
What
Stuff like that.
prisons did you go to in California?
Okay, so just to mention a few, these are the prisons from the top of my head that I can remember. So first is Silmar Juvenile Hall. I've been to Central also for a few weeks. I've been to LP, CYA, Norwalk, SRCC, OH Close, Stockton, California, Tracy, DVI, CDCR, Pelican Bay State Prison on the 4 yard, 180, B yard, and A yard. And then after that, I went to Kern Valley, New Delano. And then after that, Calipatra State Prison, 274 yard. And then after that, I got lucky and got sent to an out-of-state prison out of Arizona, La Palma. And then after that, I went to Oklahoma, out-of-state prison, the one where there's a big-ass riot. And then after Oklahoma, I got kicked out of Oklahoma and went back to a 4 yard high desert state prison, 4 yard.
Those are no joke, man. So which one out of those would you say was the worst?
I'm going to say high desert, which I had the worst experience and worst time.
I mean, what years were you at High Desert?
In high desert, it's around 2013 or 14.
Because I've interviewed two guys, I think, that went to prison in High Desert, and they said that it was one of the most corrupted prisons at one point. So what did you experience at High Desert? Can you take the people through what was so different about that prison compared to all the other places you had went?
Yes, sir. So I can only speak about my experience as an Asian, but I experienced some type of discrimination in there because when I got into it with some of the police, they withhold my packages, which is if you're not in trouble, if you're not in the hole, you're just a regular programmer. You're not, they're supposed to give you your package, but for some reason they were able to withhold my package. I had to 602 them, the appeal, the grievances for a long time. By the time that they finally gave me my package, all the food, all the donuts, all the blueberries and everything else was already no good. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
So if you really want to, if the police really want to, they could fuck you over. Basically, there's nothing you can do. That's how justice. That's prison justice.
So as an other being in there, were you able to like be friends with other races like white boys or Mexicans? And if so, like, did you have like gang wars with your enemies like on site when you were in there, or was it more like talk through and political and stuff like that?
Sure, that's a good one. So gangbanging for us in the Asian Islander car, or what people known as the other car, is not allowed. You know we cannot gangbang on each other because we're so little that we can't afford to go to the hole and
right.
lose numbers for the safety of the yard, for everybody else's safety. So we always gotta look at it from that point of view. As far as a gang war from a different race, yes, we do. You know, sometimes we'll have a racial riot with the blacks because we share the same basketball court, we share the same table. So sometimes you get into it. Stuff like that happens spontaneously, but not no prolonged political war. Just out of spontaneous, quick racial riot, and eventually after a few weeks it'll disappear. The good thing about the Asian undercard, we don't have a dictatorship program where, oh, you're not allowed to talk to the Mexicans, to the blacks, to the whites. We are allowed to talk to all the races, and we are allowed to do business with all the races. You know, so that's one good thing about our card. That we don't just discriminate, because if you look at it that way, there's so many of us Asians. You know, like for example, the Filipinos. A lot of the Filipinos that grew up in LA, they basically are more comfortable with the Soreños, with the Mexicans. So they talk to them, they fuck with them. And then you're going to have your other kind of Asians, the Crips and the Bloods and the black street hip hop Asians, where they're more comfortable hanging out with the blacks. And then you're going to have, there's so many different kinds of Asian and Islanders that are, but the good thing about us is we're able to associate with everybody, where nobody can tell us, oh no, you can't talk to them, this is the rules, this is the reglas, or it's not like that. What happens is, as an Asian Islander culture, we survive by having a family oriented mindset culture, where somehow we respect the old people. So whoever is the eldest on the yard with the most knowledge, most power, most wisdom, somebody that's most respected, will listen to that, and then, but it's not like a dictatorship program there where an older person will just go up to you, hey, youngster, you need to stab this guy. We have this mindset where, okay, no problem, we will stab him, but you have to come with us. We have that kind of mindset.
So did you stab anyone when you were in prison?
No, I never went to a mission where I have to stab somebody. But I did use a weapon during a racial riots.
What kind of weapon? Like a lock and a sock?
Exactly, a lock and a sock.
It's only so many you could use, so I figured it was probably that.
That's my favorite weapon, man.
So let me ask you this, man. Out of all the time you did, what was the worst day that you had in prison? And why was it the worst?
The worst day I had in prison, brother? I know that I've been through a lot of riots in my whole career, perhaps like 9 to 10 riots. So I experienced a lot of that. But the worst feeling was in the Kern Valley State Prison, where we were at war with the Woods. And the Woods has a no hands policy. There's no fighting. It has to be a weapon. So us, we don't have the no hands policy rules. Only if we're going at it with the police, then all the homies are forced to bring a weapon. But during a racial riot, we're not forced to use the weapon. But because you know that your enemies are going to use weapons on you, you're basically forced to use a weapon as well. Not by law or by force that you have to use a weapon, but it's for your own safety. So we were forced to make weapons, and those weapons that we made to protect ourselves, because we know that the Woods are going to stab us during the lockdown. Every 3 months they would release certain cells for the war, and the war continued for years. And if they release your cell, you just have to be ready. And during that time, anything could have happened. During those lockdowns is when we were preparing for war, and also those were the time where I started writing letters and saying sorry and making amends to all my family members that I did wrong, or just basically I just wanted to go to heaven just in case. I ended up reading the Bible from the Old Testament to the New Testament during those lockdowns.
Why were you guys at war? Why was that beef going on with the Woods? Like, what happened to cause it to get to that level?
This is only from what I know. People can correct that specific war started, I believe, somewhere else. It's either from Salinas Valley or New Folsom. And then some of the leaders that started that war, they get shipped out to a different prison. So some of those leaders of the Woods ended up going to Kern Valley to continue the war.
If you're at Kern Valley and you get into it with a Wood, and that Wood gets transferred out and he goes to High Desert, when he gets there, is it immediately now he's gathering all those other Woods and he's telling them, hey, we need to get the others?
He can continue that if he wants to. The leaders can call the shots if they really want to, and everybody else will just follow suit.
Word travels.
With us, if, for example, an Asian or, for example, a Filipino, it started a racial riot in Kern Valley and goes to Salinas Valley and wants to continue a racial war against the whites or the Woods, everybody, all the Asian Islander or the other there are just not just gonna easily just go for it. First, who are you? Do you have enough respect? And you can only push the line on the Filipinos, not on the Cambodians, on the Chinese, unless you got that kind of respect. Because we're divided also from within the other car. There's so many different races in there. It's nice. It's not gonna be that simple.
So you ended up doing 13 years on the 14?
Yes, sir. Out of the whole 14-year sentence, 13 years was done from 2003 to 2016.
Do you think that doing that time and then getting out now, like when you first got out, how did doing 13 years in California prison affect you when you were released?
I knew that I was still young, brother. Like a lot of people, the people that looked out for me had told me, you still have a chance. You're young, man. You still have a chance. And I knew that in my heart. That's the reason why I didn't tattoo my face because I still believe in the future. And then when I got out, I was able to use all the hardship and discipline that I managed to force myself inside prison here in the real world. It helped me a lot because without that kind of mindset, I would just be like everybody else, giving up on life, just became stupid and just gave up on life and never even fought back. So luckily I was able to harden myself inside prison, sir.
That's what's up. Yeah, unfortunately, man, a lot of people that have been through what we've been through do give up, man, and they just retire to the fact that prison's going to be their life for the rest of their life.
Yeah, sir. Don't get me wrong, brother. I wasn't super disciplined or clean because even in the prison I was slamming dope. Everything, cocaine, kaka, chivas, everything, skante,
It's okay. So you
all of the above. Yeah.
So you were getting high during the 13 years?
Yes, sir. I was whoever the group that I was in, if they were doing it, I was also doing it. Yes, but I defeated myself because I got scared of the heroin. I got scared of the heroin because I've seen what it's doing to everybody around me. I didn't want to give that kind of heartbreak to my family, so I defeated myself. If I had to punch my face, I had to bang my head in the wall to defeat myself. I did. I got scared of that. But
did you try the heroin in there and you saw it like getting a hold of you, and that's what made you kind of scared of it?
Yes, sir.
How many people would you say that you during your time at the prisons you were at are doing dope in prison?
Oh man, the people that are mostly around me I think those are the only people that I know because I couldn't even relate to the sober people. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I also couldn't relate to the fake people that are pretending they're not getting high when they're getting high on the low, just because they want to make this perfect, clean name that they don't get high. They're super disciplines, nowhere near the truth. And real, recognize real. I wasn't hiding nothing, because everything was just out there. And I've seen so many people PC it up, locked it up because of drugs. It's not even funny. So those are the things that scared me.
What was the worst experience you had on drugs in prison?
Worst experience in Calipatria. In Calipatria, brother, there's so many. I was pushing. I was pushing it too. I just can't speak on how, but I was pushing. I was pushing on everything. What do you call this? All of the above, right? I was pushing it. I was connected to the Mesa, to the Mexican mafia. I'm I just haven't really talked about it, but I'm in there. They know me. We're doing business in the streets and stuff like that. I took a lot of risk. I took a penitentiary risk in there, bringing it in, messing with the mafias, stuff like that. The Mesa. There are a lot of people that locked it up, PC it up, that knows everything about my business, but for some reason they never got me. Because every time somebody locks it up, PC it up, of course, you're always going to assume in the back of your head, oh man, they already gave my name. I'm already on the list. They're going to get me. For some reason, I still continued and they still never got me. And I got into some businesses where with the blacks, where something happened, where I took a risk of getting stabbed in the yard. And luckily it didn't happen also. There was a lot of stupid risks that I took that somehow it didn't push through. Luckily.
Yeah, you got blessed, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So you got out and you got released to California, and now you're in the Philippines. So how did that happen? What made you go back? Just you missed your homeland?
Oh no, I was forced to come back, man.
Oh, really?
Because when I got incarcerated, I wasn't a U.S. citizen yet. I was only a green card holder. So they were able to use this against me and, deport me back to the Philippines. So when I got deported back to the Philippines, this is when I'm doing my best to come back to make amends and show my family that I'm no longer in that world, in the evil world.
So are you able to come back to the United States, or are you not able to take a plane here? Like, how does that work?
I could still fix my paper with the right lawyer if we have the money, because my case was not distribution of drugs and I was a minor and I didn't know, English is a second language. So there was a lot of technicalities in law that I could still fix with the right lawyer, with the right money, but it's not my priority right now. I'm living a straight life here in the Philippines right now. Blessed to have this family that I have, blessed to have this position that I have. No plans on pushing back to America just yet. And plus, I can afford it anyways. It's expensive.
Well, it is expensive, man. Before we end, I know you have a YouTube channel. I want you to be able to tell the people how they can find you on YouTube in case they want to go check you out.
Yes, sir. If you want to check me out, man, Pare Young on YouTube and also on Instagram and on Facebook. And my government name is Addison Magno.
Okay. And I'll put a link to your YouTube in the description of this video, so that way they can just click it if you want to send it to me.
Appreciate you, brother, man. Yeah. Appreciate this.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you coming on the channel and telling your story again. I'll definitely be coming on your channel.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it, man.
All right.
Righteous move.
Yes, sir. If you're new and you're tuning in, this is the kind of stuff I talk about on this channel. If you're interested in being a guest on this channel, you can shoot me an email. That email will be in the description and pinned in the comments. On this channel, this is what we talk about: prison, jail, what it's like to be at the bottom of society and come back and be a functioning member of society. So if you like that type of content, do me a solid, hit that subscribe button. If you can do me a favor, hit that like on the video and drop a comment. Let me know what you think of the content. And with that, this is DOC TV Unleashed, and we're out.